The traditional ASP.NET Core application templates are perfect for backend applications. However, if you want to architect microservices and cloud-native applications, those templates can be a little too much. That's where minimal APIs come into play. Minimal APIs allow you to create HTTP APIs with minimal dependencies and a minimal number of files. Today, we will learn about minimal APIs in .NET 6, and if you stay with me until the end, you'll learn about the use cases that fit minimal APIs best. Hi, and welcome back. If you're new to the channel, I'm a software engineer with more than 10 years of experience with the .NET platform. On this channel, you'll learn all about .NET development. Learning everything about ASP.NET Core can be overwhelming. Minimal APIs offer an alternative, and we're going to learn about it together. This tutorial teaches the basics of building a minimal web API with ASP.NET Core. First of all, we have to create a new ASP.NET Core Web API project in the Visual Studio Project Creation Wizard. Let's name the project Shopping List and click on the Next button. We stick with .NET 6 as the target framework in the following dialog. However, we uncheck the Use Controllers option. I wish there were a better user experience to choose between minimal APIs and controller-based projects, but it is what it is. If you check the option, you will get the project using controllers. If you uncheck the option, you will get the project with minimal APIs. Click on the Create button and Visual Studio will create the project for us. Before we change anything, let's explore the project. First of all, we have a program.cs file that contains the entire project. Well, there is a launch settings.json and an app settings.json file, but other than that, everything code related is within the program.cs file. We don't see any namespace definitions because this template uses the top-level statements introduced in C#10. If you aren't familiar with top-level statements, check out the video appearing on the top right. We create a builder using the Web Application Builder factory added in .NET 6. Next, we register services and build a container like any other .NET application. After the container is built, we use the app variable of type web application to configure the HTTP pipeline. Last but not least, we start the application by running the run method. Let's remove the example code for the weather forecast endpoint. We only have 20 lines to create an ASP.NET Core Web API application without the example code. Now that we have a clean project, let's add a simple Hello World endpoint. We use the app variable and call the map_get method. As the first argument, we provide the URL we want to use to reach the endpoint. As the second argument, we provide an anonymous method using the lambda syntax without any argument. We use a simple Hello World string as the return statement. Let's run the application. We use the Swagger interface to execute the Hello endpoint. Alternatively, we can also open a new tab and paste the URL of the endpoint to get the result. Now that we have our first endpoint, I will add a few example types to the project. I created an item class, an item repository interface, and an item repository implementation of that interface. We also need to register the item repository as a singleton in the application builder. The example code is out of scope of this tutorial, but we want to implement basic HTTP endpoints to work with the shopping item repository next. Let's add a get endpoint that returns a single item from the repository. Again, we use the map_get method of the web application type. This time, use the parameter syntax to define an ID parameter of type GUID. In the second argument, we again define an anonymous method. However, this time we add a parameter of type GUID with the name ID to it. It will get populated by ASP.NET Core when the endpoint is hit. As the second parameter, we use a parameter of type iTemRepository. We can use every type that we registered in the application builder before. It's how you can use dependency injection when working with minimal APIs. Within the method body, we use the item repository variable and we call the get method and provide the ID as its argument. Before we do another test, let's add a post endpoint to add items to our shopping cart. We use the map post method and use /items as the URL. For the first parameter, we use the item type. It will hold the information we get over HTTP. And for the second parameter, we use the iTemRepository type again. We call the add method on the item repository within the method implementation and provide the item as its argument. To simplify testing, we add another get endpoint to return all items in the shopping cart. We use the map get method again, providing the /items route as its first argument and the item repository as the sole parameter in the anonymous method. Now that we have two additional get endpoints and a post endpoint, let's run the application to see if it works as expected. First, let's add an item to the shopping cart. We open the post endpoint in Swagger and click on the Try It Out button. We modify the request body and send a description and a quantity by pressing the Execute button. Next, we open the items endpoint that returns all items. Again, we click on the Try It Out button and execute the request. We can see our item in the response body. Let's copy the ID of our item. Now open the get endpoint with the ID in the URL, try it out again, and paste the item ID. Again, we get the item in the response body. Let's head back into Visual Studio to implement put and delete endpoints. We use the map put method to define a put endpoint. Similar to the post endpoint, we use the item type as the first parameter in the anonymous method and the item repository as the second parameter. We call the update method on the item repository and provide the item. Last but not least, we implement a delete endpoint using the map delete method and provide /items /curly braces open ID curly braces close as the route argument. Within the anonymous method, we again define the first parameter as ID of type GUID and the second parameter of type item repository. We first get the item from the item repository using the get method and providing the ID as its argument. Next, we call the delete method on the item repository and provide the item. Before we talk about the difference between minimal APIs and APIs with controllers, let's do another test to see if the put and delete endpoints work as expected. Let's start the application one more time. First, let's post an item using the default values. Next, we want to get all the items in the shopping cart by calling the get items endpoint. Next, we execute the put endpoint and change the description and the quantity. Again, we use the getAll endpoint to verify if the data has changed. Last but not least, we use the delete endpoint and provide the item ID. As a final test, we call the getItems API again to see an empty list returned in the response body. Great! Now let's talk about the differences between minimal APIs and APIs with controllers. Minimal APIs offer a short syntax to create HTTP handlers for all HTTP methods. We can define custom routes and use dependency injection in the handler methods. Minimal APIs only support a subset of what the full ASP.NET Core using controllers can do. Let's go through the limitations of minimal APIs and the differences between minimal APIs and APIs with controllers. First, there is no support for filters. For example, you cannot use action filters, authorization filters, result filters, or exception filters. Second, there is no support for form bindings. On the official documentation, Microsoft states that it is planned to add support in the future. Third, There is no built-in validation support, for example, using the iModel Validator interface. There are a few more differences and you can look them up in the link in the video description. However, I think those three differences to be the most important. That finally takes us to the question you have been waiting for. What use cases fit minimal APIs and when should you use controllers? The simple answer is you can choose yourself. The better answer is it depends. When you start a new project and want to implement a simple web API that returns some data, I suggest starting it using minimal APIs. It just saves some time and keeps things simple. If you are familiar with Node, specifically Express, you most likely want to start with minimal APIs because it feels more natural. If you start an enterprise-scale backend, using controllers might be the better choice because you might want to use some of the features only available when working with controllers. In the end, you are free to choose whatever you like, and you can always migrate from one approach to the other. Especially migrating from minimal APIs to controllers isn't very time-consuming. We learned what minimal APIs are, how to implement them, and when to use them compared to controllers. Minimal APIs are, after all, another option, another tool for your tool belt to use at the right time and can be a solution for the right problem. We haven't talked about authentication in this video. It is possible to protect API endpoints against unauthenticated requests. If that is interesting to you, leave a comment below or tell me what else you want to learn in .NET development. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.